Fun Plus decided to drop a big update on us over the weekend. That's the second update in the last few days. So I thought I would put together this video to break down some of the things that are going to be changing in the game for you. Now, one of the things we already expected, that was the reversal on Queen Hippolyta's kit. But there's also another change to a champion's legacy piece that you're not going to want to miss here. Now, for those of you who are on the beta servers, you will be getting Joker in your bleed very soon. It looks like on October the 8th, Joker will be coming back around for a rerun for the soft launch servers. If you do decide to pull for Joker during his rerun, you're going to have a higher chance of pulling Two-Face, Bane, and Harley Quinn. The next big update that came with this patch is Ultimate Battle for Gotham is now going to be playable for servers outside of the soft launch servers. So be on the lookout, especially if you were part of global launch. You should be getting access on October 6th to Ultimate Battle for Gotham. Really excited to see more people get an opportunity to play the game mode. I've expressed some misgivings for the game mode in prior videos and on Discord as well. There are some issues, especially if you're part of a very active server and you're going against a less active server. Basically, if there's not enough fights going on in the match, it's going to be harder for you to get your personal rewards, but that's something we can talk about in another video. Now, it looks like we're also going to be getting another event, and this one's going to be Zatanna's Magic Show. It's going to be available October 6th. It will require War Room level 10 for you to participate, and this one is a card flipping event. Flip cards to unlock surprise rewards, complete a full row, column, or diagonal for a chance at special rewards. Along the way, earn magic vouchers and exchange them for desired items in the magic store. So just another one of these sort of gotcha style events. I imagine that spenders will get a pretty decent amount of rewards from this. There'll probably be a lot of magic eyes. There's going to be some memento boxes and ACDC shards, I would suspect. So be on the lookout for whenever this event does drop. I'll be putting together an event guide for you, just kind of a rundown of how the event works and whether there are any things that are really good for you to try to push for or any things that you should avoid. We talked about the change to the Guardian Challenge schedule quite a few times on the channel, and this is something that they're going to be pushing out very soon. It looks like actually this week we're going to be dealing with it. But in order to try to avoid conflict with other game modes, particularly all the Gotham Wars that you're now going to be doing on Saturday US time, they have moved all of the Guardian challenges into the main portion of the week. Now, I know this is going to be fairly unpopular for those outside of probably North America and South America, primarily because you're probably going to be asleep during some of the game times. So you're going to have to be thinking strategically about which cities you own, because I know we figured out there was a pattern to when each city was going to be fought for. So you could kind of like, based on the cities that you own, you could figure out what times you were going to be battling at any given time, whether you're going to be defending or on offense. I'm hoping that there's going to be a new pattern that we can figure out so that we know exactly when each city is going to be going. And if we can do that for this new system, I'm happy to put together a video or an infographic to try to break that down for you. One thing I want to point out from an economic perspective, especially for those who spend and buy packs frequently, they have made some changes to the way the stores work. We can jump over there, but they've renamed Harvest Chest and Diurnal Harvest to weekly bundles and daily bundles. And the way those packs work now is a little bit different. You can go over to the daily bundles and you'll see that there are a couple of packs that you used to only be able to buy on a weekly basis. They've changed that to a daily pack. And for those who don't spend a ton, this is definitely going to be an incentive to try to get you to spend a little bit more. Be very careful with that. If you were only on a budget of buying one of these $4.99 packs a week and that was it, then, just be forewarned that it's going to be sitting there tempting you every single day now. I believe this $4.99 pack for 8 anvils turns into a $10 pack for a handful more than that. I forget exactly how many, but there is another pack behind this Champions Covenant. And then for the weekly bundles, you're going to have this $4.99 for 10, which is the one that we had previously. And I believe that one turns into a $10. Like, it's kind of a progressive thing. And then you also have this Champions Covenant, starts at the $49.99 and pushes through to the 100 anvil packs for $100. And I believe those 80 anvil packs for $100 are locked behind that one as well. So just keep that in mind. Definitely a few additional packs here. And I think this is a solid change for light spenders, because you're going to have a few more anvil packs that are going to be available for you at any given time if you need them, rather than feeling like you're stuck having to spend $50 or $100 for a pack. They did apparently fix an issue with Nightwing's kit that ends up being a bit of a buff, or at least it gets his kit back to working the way it was intended. But his follow-up strike, basically that's triggered by defeating an enemy target with his ultimate, was incorrectly consuming additional energy, and they fixed that to where it doesn't consume that energy anymore. Should be a little bit more efficient for Nightwing now, and he'll probably be doing some more damage because of that. And then they also fixed an issue where the effect of Krypto's best super friend sometimes failed to transfer after he was defeated. And that's going to be big also for not just Superman family, but any comp where you're running Krypto, because that's a very helpful item that can be used. We can go over and look at Krypto's kit. You can see what Best Super Friend does here at the start of the battle. Krypto gains 50% bonus HP and increases all allies' physical and spiritual defense by 15% of his own. And then casting his ultimate generates a specific amount of Krypton energy, depending on what level you have this at. I believe it starts at 1 or 2. And if Krypto is defeated, the effect transfers to the nearest Superman family ally. So obviously, this is only going to transfer to Superman, Supergirl, or Superboy. But typically, you're running Krypto with at least one of those. So keep that in mind based on which battles you're running. Okay, now let's talk about Queen Hippolyta's changes being reverted back. I've mentioned this in a couple of other videos, so I don't want to spend too much time on this one. But they did fully revert Queen Hippolyta's kit to the way it was before. She's going to get part of her energy based on one of her basic abilities, and then she's going to be getting the rest of the energy that can get you to that 100 energy at the start of battle from her legacy piece. If you recall, they said when they were doing the reversion that they were going to be doing something to the legacy piece as well. So I will refrain from reading through all of the changes that they reverted. You can look at that yourself or look at some of my previous videos. But the thing that is very important here, and it really just makes her that much better, especially when you have her at higher levels. But they did update the legacy piece, and it's the skill Queen's Privilege. It's the first skill on the legacy piece. So previously, the way that one worked was at the start of the battle, Queen Hippolyta would gain a specific amount of energy, and then after she casted her ultimate, she would restore an additional percentage of her max HP per second for a few seconds. Now, that was already really great in itself, and that HP restoration was kind of the catalyst to run like the League of Assassins team that I've featured on the channel in PvP and other things, because if you don't have a healer on your team, then it's going to be very difficult to sustain, and so you're kind of relying on things that will keep you alive, like shields and being able to heal yourself. So this coming back is incredible, but read the sentence before that. So now the legacy piece says at the start of the battle, Queen Hippolyta will gain the energy, and then she also restores a percentage of her max HP per second until the end of the battle. And this is like a non-dispellable effect. So it's just going to be persistent HP gain per second until the end of the battle. That's ridiculous. Now, it is a small percentage, so it's going to be kind of like a very, very small, slight tick, but it's not insignificant. And I think the higher you have this legacy piece, the more benefit you're going to get out of it. Obviously, you're going to have 2% maximum of her max HP per second until the end of the battle, which is just crazy. I think even the 0.4% just by having this legacy piece unlocked is going to be really just, she was already good with her original kit. Adding this in is going to make her even better. And it's also going to mean that, what was already a must build legacy piece for Queen Hippolyta means that you just have to have this legacy piece on her day one. Otherwise, you're not going to be getting near as much productivity out of Queen Hippolyta as you would otherwise. So ultimately, I am satisfied that they've done the reversion. I didn't expect it, and I didn't expect them to do something like this with the legacy piece. My original theory was they were probably going to give much more energy to start with, like just have, instead of it being progressive as you level the legacy piece up, maybe just give 50 energy right off the rip. But that's not the case. They're doing this max HP gain, and I'm here for it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the change to the legacy piece and the reversions of Queen Hippolyta's kit. And this one really shocked me. This was not something that I expected. Did not have this on my bingo card for over the weekend, but they have changed Joker's skills. Now, the first one, they've updated the ultimate. So ultimate is Joker Venom. It's the debuff or damage over time ability that Joker is able to do. The passive effect also triggers when Shazam's Atlas boost activates. So just a new thing that they've changed. But the piece that is really, I think, crazy, and it's going to make him even better in combat cycle, is they've updated the legacy piece. So before, the legacy piece would increase Joker's effect accuracy by a percentage, and then every 10 stacks of Joker Venom inflicted would increase Joker's attack by a certain percentage and heal him for a percentage of his attack per second. And the effect would last 15 seconds and stack up to 10 times. The new way that the scepter is going to work is that it increases Joker's effect accuracy by an even greater percentage, and then each of his attacks will increase the target's damage taken by a percentage for 10 seconds, and that stacks up to 10 times. So he is going to lose a little bit of sustain from the legacy piece, but I also think that this is going to massively ramp up the amount of damage that Joker is able to do. Instead of a flat increase in attack percentage for Joker, it increases the target's damage taken. And those are two completely different, methods of ramping up damage. And that damage taken is going to apply not just for Joker, but anyone else on the team. So just an incredible change here for Joker's kit, not something that I was expecting. Obviously, my general overall impression of Joker is not going to change at all. I still think he's an A+ tier champion, clearly very, very much S tier in combat cycle, and this is going to solidify that even further. I know there are folks like Dizzletron, and there's a couple of others, Kierlin, I think, who have really, really good Jokers that are able to score a lot. I know Arkaluk is able to put up a lot of points in combat cycle with his Joker, and there's a few others out there. Sorry if I didn't mention you, but those folks are going to be getting even more ridiculous scores in combat cycle, into the billions from being able to utilize Joker's scepter. But as far as PvP, there's still just a ton of people who can just shut him down immediately. And for that reason, I don't think that I'm going to be moving him up or down in the tier list over this patch. But the one thing I will say is this legacy piece probably goes from being one of the lower tier unique legacy pieces to potentially one of the better ones. And I would say it's, if not a must build for Joker, it's now one of those that, most likely you should own it at some point if you're going to be building Joker any higher. I'm not saying that this legacy piece becomes like an S tier, best of the bunch legacy piece, but before, there were a lot of people who just didn't use this legacy piece on Joker because it didn't ramp damage well enough, and the healing just wasn't really even that necessary. But now I think there's going to be a lot of people, if you're building Arkham's Most Wanted as your main team, or if you're building some sort of hybrid or whatever, or if you just care about combat cycle scores more than any other element of the game, this is definitely going to be a legacy piece that you'll want to build. Let me know what you think of these changes. I'm really excited about Queen Hippolyta's change, and I'm actually looking forward to potentially pulling Joker a few more times whenever his rerun comes around. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be buying full Scepter because I don't really run Arkham too much, but I may have to reconsider that for my account just based on what I'm seeing with the update to the kit for the legacy piece. Let me know in the comments down below whether you'll be building Joker or Joker's full Scepter, and I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel so you'll get notified anytime I put out new DC Dark Legion content, and if not, I hope to see you on the next video.